Looks like we have our second official contender for the 2024 Republican nomination to be President of the United States of America, Nikki Haley. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley has announced today. Now, you're probably laughing, you're probably rolling your eyes. Here's a little bit of her announcement.
It's time for a new generation of leadership to rediscover fiscal responsibility, secure our border, and strengthen our country, our pride, and our purpose. Some people look at America and see vulnerability. The socialist left sees an opportunity to rewrite history. China and Russia are on the march. They all think we can be bullied, kicked around. You should know this about me. I don't put up with bullies. And when you kick back, it hurts them more if you're wearing heels. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president.
Except she does put up with bullies. She does. My lasting memory of Nikki Haley, when I checked out on Nikki Haley, was not recently, not at all. I checked out on Nikki Haley a long time ago. You remember there was this hate crime, this white racist dude walked into some black church or black Bible study, actually it was, in South Carolina. You probably remember this. Dylan Roof, I believe his name was. And he shoots up the whole place, kills a bunch of sweet old black ladies that were there to pray with him. Well, the communists go combing through his Facebook posts and on social media accounts trying to make him out to be some right-winger, right? And they end up finding, I believe it was a Confederate flag, a picture of him with a Confederate flag on there. And they begin hounding Nikki Haley about the South Carolina state flag, which had that representation on it. It wasn't long before Nikki Haley pulled that flag down. She does give up. She gives in to bullies. That's what she does. So I'm out on Nikki Haley. Somebody like that, somebody who gives in to the communist rage mob, not gonna ever be my president, not gonna ever be somebody I support. But let's talk about this for a moment. Why run? Because all I've seen all day long is people who are saying, honestly, what's the point? What's the point? Why is she running? She has no chance. She's going to get 2%. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why would you run? Why would you run? Pause on that for a moment. I'll tell you a little story. I knew a guy, actually I haven't talked to him in years, but I knew a guy some years ago, and he was one of these entrepreneurial types. Just stay with me. And one of the things you learn, if you ever talk to rich people, you ever talk to really rich people, is they really do occupy like a separate world than people who aren't rich. And I remember my conversations with this guy, I would oftentimes, because I was making, I think like $60,000 a year or something like that at the time, I was working construction. I remember thinking, he just occupies the reality that I can't relate to. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's one of these hotshot, genius entrepreneurial types, and he'd started a company that took off, and now he was making millions of dollars. And he was going, this is all gonna tie in, just stay with me. And he was going to Las Vegas. He was going to Las Vegas that weekend for a little private conference. Now, I don't want you to think about this as a conference like you go to or I go to, where we go and we sit in the lobby of the Courtyard Marriott Hotel while some boring seminar goes on and you're getting credit for it at work. Hopefully they have free beer that night. It's not like that at all. This was an exclusive conference. You had to pay. You had to pay to get into this conference, and not $100, not $500, not that entry fee your company paid for you. The price for admission into this conference was $5 million. There were only going to be, I forget what the number is. It was under 20. There weren't many guys there. It was picture a big conference room. I'm not talking a tiny, a theater, a big conference room. Millions of dollars to get in. Now, okay, what happens there? What are they giving out warm cookies? Gold bars? What happens there? Oh, there's nothing official. What? What happens there is you pay that money, you walk into the room with other rich guys who paid the money, and from that point on, it became known that you had attended that conference. Not only did you do the networking with other rich guys, but you attended that conference, and having gotten credit for attending this little conference with all these hotshot business guys and entrepreneurs, that would make your phone ring endlessly. Phone calls, emails, text messages with new business and investment opportunities. that would easily, I asked him, because I'm dumbfounded by all this, right? Same way you probably are right now. And I said, so that paid off? $5 million? And I remember the look he gave me. It was almost like it was the dumbest question. And when he looks at me like, Jesse, it paid off several times over. Just being part of the club, having the word out there that you're part of the club, made you a lot of money. Now let's go to Nikki Haley. You're asking today why is she running. It doesn't make sense. She shouldn't be running. What's she doing? Nikki Haley's running for that same reason. She has no chance. She does have a brand. It's a small brand. It's not Trump's brand. It's not Heavy D's brand. It's a small brand, but it's a brand. She has a brand. You know who she is. We're talking about her right here on I'm Right. She has a brand. That brand is this size. If you can run for president and get enough votes and support and raise enough money to get on the GOP stage for the debates, it doesn't matter how bad you do, what you do. I mean, it's better if you do well. But if you can just get on that stage on national television, ABC, NBC, CBS, I'm sure we'll be playing it for you here on the 1st, and you're up there having a presidential debate, your brand goes from this to this, and you become known as somebody of some significance. What does that do for you tangibly? Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to write a book. I wrote a book, jessekellybook.com, by the way, Anti-Communist Manifesto. Make sure you go pre-order it. But I wrote a book. Well, I don't know what people who write books make, because I've never sold one yet. My book just came out. But I guarantee there's a difference between selling 500 books and 5,000 books. She stands on that stage. She goes from 500 to 5,000. Who is that lady? I want to buy her book. You know what else pays? Cable news gigs. Maybe Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, maybe the First. Maybe someone calls Nikki Haley. Maybe she acquits herself very well. Hey, how about a late night show? You know what else pays? Presidential cabinet positions. Maybe she runs in that primary, of course, gets her teeth kicked in, which she will, but maybe the person she bows out and endorses, maybe they make a secret, illegal, but they all do it, a secret backroom deal. Hey, Nikki, back out and be Secretary of State if you want. Back out and endorse me. However you want to look at it. People run for president because it costs you very little but time, and in the end, your brand goes from this to this. In the end, you're part of the club. And whatever it costs you, even if it costs you some money or costs you a little bit here or a little bit there, it will pay off several times over down the road. Nikki Haley's not running for president because she thinks she's going to be president or because she thinks she has a chance at the Republican nomination. These people live and die by polls and things like that. Nikki Haley's running for president, and all the others who get in will run for president for the exact reason I just said. It's all about taking your brand from here to here, because your brand is money. It's money and power. That's what it is. Now, I realize that's a little gritty, a little backroom dealing, kind of feels a little icky. Jesse, I wish politics wasn't like this. But that's what it's like. So when Tim Scott announces, we'll, of course, make fun of Tim Scott because everyone remembers Tim Scott in the wake of St. George Floyd's death, immediately joining forces with Cory Booker to come up with federal police reform laws. I'm just insanely jumping on the narrative, helping the left create the narrative. So Tim Scott has no chance either. We'll make fun of him. And this will happen with every single candidate who jumps in the race over and over and over again. Unless their name is Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, they have no shot at winning the primary. They get in and run in the primary because it's dang good for the brand.